Okay. So basically, I haven't prepared any content, to be honest, for the class, right? We can take questions on the go, right? So the questions that, were pending to be discussed and all those things, right? So guys, before even I start, I think I forgot one small topic, right? Which was supposed to be covered officially in module 1. But I think we just skipped through it somehow, right? I remembered it, but then I forgot. Okay. तो आज उसको I'll just spend 15 minutes on that to officially touch upon that topic. Like, okay, even if you don't know it, you won't be, anywhere in difficulty in module 1 test or in future as well, because that's a very rarely used topic, right? But just for academic completeness and, so that, I complete all the course as was mentioned in the handout. So I think I'll just touch upon this, very, very simple topic for 10-15 minutes, and then we can go with problem solving, right? I just wanted to touch on this. Okay. So switch case, right? Now, what is switch case, right? So switch case is basically, a very similar alternative to if, else, if, else, if, else, if, else ladder, right? So when we were talking about conditionals, we saw structures like this, right? If, else, if, else ladder, right? So we basically array list and hash map, when will be starting? We will start array lists and hash. Array list will be done in module 2. Hash map will be done in module 3. Hashing is in module 3, right? So basically in conditionals, we have studied about these kind of ladders, like if, else, else ladder. And what was the basic idea of an if, else, else ladder? The moment any of the condition is true, right, that block is executed and all other blocks will be skipped, right? So in an if, else ladder, only one of the blocks will get executed. Okay, only one of the blocks get executed, and then you come outside this ladder. That was the very basic idea of an if, else, conditional block. Okay. And I think we have spent enough time on this. So abhi, I don't think anyone would be having any type of confusion here. So switch case is an alternative to this kind of a structure, right? Just think that switch case is another different way of writing this kind of a structure. So what do I do? In switch case, we have something known as a switching variable. Okay, I'll give you an example. And through example, I think it will become more clear why I'm not able to write. Discuss one, give me 1 second. Okay. Just 1 second, guys. I think my screen has frozen something. Like 1 second, क्या हो गया? 1 second. Okay. Cool. So let's come back here if it's good enough. Yeah. What's happening? Wait. The PPT has gone bad. ठीक है यार, बिना PPT के कर लेंगे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. उतना आज PPT का दरकार भी नहीं है. To be honest, something has gone bad. Okay, so I am basically discussing about the switch case construct, right? So that was a very small thing that I wanted to discuss, right? So we are discussing the switch case construct, and after that, we can go and discuss certain number of problems, right? Some problems we can try and discuss. Okay, so let's get started, right? Let's get started. And so what is the basic idea of a switch case construct, right? A switch case, voice nahi aa rahi hai. Hello, am I audible? Hello. I'm audible, right? Okay. Great. So yeah, I will just repeat what all I had discussed till now, right? Nothing major I have covered, right? So we basically started with the idea of a switch case, right? So that was a small topic which I had skipped. I wanted to do it, but then I forgot alongside, and so it got skipped, right? So basically, I just told this thing to you all that we all have studied if, else, if, right? This kind of structures. Guys, give me 1 second. Something wrong is happening. Right? We have studied ladders like this, right? If, else, else ladder. And the moment any one of the conditions became true in this ladder, what happened? That block was executed and then you came outside the ladder, right? Now, very similar to this, you have a concept of a switch case. Okay, we have the concept of a switch case, very, very similar thing. So what ideally happens in switch case? Okay, we have a variable which is known as a switching variable. Okay, so let's say you write something like this, switch. Okay, I'm telling you the construct switch. And then I write the name of the variable. Let's say my variable name is var, whatever, right? Switch on this variable. And then we put curly braces. Right? And then we have multiple cases. Let's say, case one. Okay, let's say this is an integer variable, right? So I will tell you what happens and what is the very basic idea of this. And let's say in case one, I say print hello. Okay. And let's say you have another case, case two, in which you write, let's say print hi. Okay. So I think I'll go to the online GDB. I think that will be better. Yeah. Ek second do mere ko. I don't know. Something is wrong today. Guys, someone of you mentioned me a shortcut, right? To switch between different tabs. I think I'm not able to see anything when I'm sharing my screen for some strange reason. Alt plus tab. पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है. एक मिनट रुको. Okay, basically my that start tab, वो start वाला जो bar होता है ना नीचे का, that is not showing up. So anyways, I think it will be good today to stick to online GDB only and do all the discussion and analysis here itself, right? And we'll draw on the screen if needed. Okay. So a switch case is an alternative to an if, else if, else if, else ladder, right? So what do we do, right? So generally we have a variable which is known as a switching variable. Okay. And what can be the data type of the switching variable? Your switching variable can either be an integer, okay, or it can be a character, or it can be a string. So these are the three different types of switching variables that we generally talk about. Okay. So how does a switch case? So switch case aayega test mein. I am not sure if it will be coming in the test or not, but I just thought, guys, for even if you don't know switch string, you will be able to solve all the questions that are coming, right? But just I wanted to make sure that for theoretical completeness, we discuss this thing and then go to problem solving, right? Okay. So you have a switching variable. Okay. So let's say I write int a is equal to 5. Okay. So let's say this is an integer variable a. Okay. And now I want to switch on this variable. I want to switch on this particular variable. So how do I write? Switch. Okay. And then I write the variable name. So I will be switching on a. Okay. I will be switching on a. Okay. And then what do we write? We write multiple cases. Ki boss, case 50. Case 50. And then I will write what needs to be done if the case is 50. Hello, I am in 50. Right? Then let's say I write another case, case 5. Okay. And I say println yo. Okay. Something like this, right? So what does this block ideally state? This block ideally states ki boss, you will be switching on the variable a. Okay. So basically we will be checking. See, what does case 50 equal to mean? That is, if a equal to 50, then you will enter inside this case block and you will print hello, I am in 50. What does case 5 mean? If a is equal to 5, you will enter inside this case block and print yo. Okay. So a switch case is only used for strict equality checking. Okay, see, when we were talking about the if, else ladder, what was happening, guys? You could have written anything, na? If a less than 10, do this. Else if, whatever, right? So basically, in an if, else kind of a ladder, right? We could have any condition check, less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, or complex relational conditions we could have written inside the conditionals for the, if, else ladder. But in case of a switch case, we only check for equality. So what happens is whenever I write a switch on a particular variable, I am checking for exact equality. So case 50 means it is as equivalent to saying that if a equal to 50, it will enter and print this block. Okay. Case 5 means if a equal to 5, it will enter here and print yo. Okay. So if I run this code, what do you think is the expected output here? Yo, करके देखते हैं. Okay. Yeah. Are we missing something? Error expected something. Okay. What is missing? This one? Okay. So the syntax is like this: switch, then within brackets, you will be writing your switching variable. Okay. So switch, within parentheses, you will write your switching variable. And then within these curly braces, you will write your multiple cases. Okay. So every case does one equality check. Ki boss, if a case 50 means if a equal to 50. Case 5 means if a equal to 5. Sab bataunga. We'll come to break also. Okay. So these are, if any of the case matches, you will enter and you will print this. Now, what happens if no match comes, right? Inside an if else structure, we had written the else block. Ki boss, if any one of the conditions, if all the conditions are not satisfied, then we enter the else block and print something, right? So here also, inside switch case, you have a default case, right? So you will write at the end default, okay? And you will say here, println no match found. So what happens? First of all the cases will be checked, right? And if none of the cases are satisfied, then you will enter the default block and you will print no match found. So default is very similar to the else part. If no conditions match, then you come here and print the default block. Why did I take 50? Anything, right? I am checking for equality. So you can write here anything that you want, right? If you want to check whether A is equal to 10 or not, you can write here case 10. Okay, it depends on your program that you are writing. Okay. Now, let me do one small thing, right? This is a very, very simple thing, and I am pretty sure all of you understand, right? Ki boss, this is an integer variable. I am switching on the value of this variable A. And inside this switching block, I have multiple cases. That is, if any of the case matches, I will enter inside the case block and I will print all the lines of code that are present inside the case block. Okay. And if none of the cases match, you can choose to write a default. Ki boss, if none of the cases match, then enter the default block and print no match found. Okay. So default is optional, right? Very, very similar. देखो एकदम parallels draw करो कि in an if kind of a ladder, right? Was an else compulsory? Not mandatory, right? You could have written an else or you could have skipped an else as well. Similarly, default is not mandatory. Okay. You can write it. You may not write it. Okay. So this is the default one. Now let me talk about something interesting. Okay. So let's say I write case 5 first and then I write case 100. What is the output that you guys are expecting? Soch ke dekho, what should be the logical output? What should be the logical output? Logically, if I don't know anything about switch case at this point of time, I will say, boss, case 5 should hit and you will print that, hello, I am in 5. But when I run this thing, see what happens. And here is the difference between an if else and a switch case. Now, what happens in a switch case is, the moment any one of the cases is true, right? I am checking case by case, one after the other. The moment you see that any one of the cases has become true, this case has matched, right? The value of the switching variable is equal to 5. Then you know what will happen. This case will be printed, but all other cases will not also be checked. Koi check nahi hoga, right? The moment any one of the cases becomes true, it's a simple fall through. Aisa socho, you will go a free fall. Okay. All other blocks which are downside will get executed, irrespective of whether their cases are true or false. So what happens? Case 5, this evaluated to be true. So I entered inside and I printed, hello, I am in 5. And then we did a simple fall down. So all the other lines, all the other cases and the default blocks, they got printed. So I also got the output as yo and no match found. So what is the, idea if I don't want to be, doing like this? Because this is not an expected behavior, right? This should not be the behavior while using a switch case. So there we come to the break keyword. Okay. So what did I tell you? Break and continue were generally associated with loops, right? But inside switch case also, we see a utility for break. So what happens is, after you have written the code for every case, we generally write a break. So what will happen? Now try to understand, guys. So we generally write a break at the end of every case. Okay. Default ke niche likh bhi sakte ho, nahi bhi likh sakte ho, because when you enter inside default, anyways, you will be coming outside the switch block, right? So when I introduce the break keyword, what am I saying? The moment any one of the cases evaluates to be true, I will enter inside the case block. I will print this line, hello, I am in 5. And then I will hit the break keyword. So the break keyword will make us come outside the switch block. Okay. No, continue is not needed, right? Continue is not required generally in switch case, right? Okay. We can also continue. When can we use that free fall feature? Any example? So not an example, like it is just a feature, right? Generally, whenever you are using switch cases to solve any problem, right, you won't be using it without the break keyword, right? 90% of the time we use the break keyword always. Okay. What about the upside of case if we don't use break? So there's no upside, right? If you want to do multiple comparisons, or again and again writing if a equal to 5, else if a equal to 10, else if a equal to 15, you can simply write multiple cases. Okay. Okay, now let's try to run this. Okay, so I am expecting that hello, I am in 5 will be printed, and then you break, you come outside the switch block, and your code terminates. How to initialize big integer value? Not needed. Yeah, ये सब कहाँ से आ रहा है? Big integer is not required. Okay, so hello, I am in 5. Okay, so what were the key takeaways from a switch case? See, even if you don't know switch case, there is no harm, right? It is as simple as an if else ladder kind of a structure. But the important key take home points from a switch case is you have a switching, you have a switching variable. Okay, you have a switching variable, and that switching variable can either be an integer or a character or a string. These are the 3 permitted data types for the switching variable. Then you write switch within brackets, you write the switching variable. Then within these curly braces, you will write your cases. Okay. And inside a case, basically, whenever you write a particular case, right, in switch case, we are doing exact equality check. We cannot do something like, is A greater than 5, then do this. If A is less than 5, then do that. No, that is not permitted inside a switch case. A switch case is simple equality comparison. You check for equals. Okay, only equality, right? No, floating point cannot be done. Okay. What if 2 cases match? Will both be printed? If you are using a break, right? So first of all, what I understand is it should give you an error if you are having 2 cases by the same thing, right? Let's see. करता है नहीं मुझे नहीं पता. देखो error दे दिया, duplicate case, right? So you cannot have 2 same cases. Okay, the compiler gets confused. Ki boss, if A is equal to 5, what do I have to do? Okay, there are 2 duplicate cases, so that is not allowed. Okay, now, so you write a case, and a case is just an exact equality check. Okay, the moment any one of the cases evaluates to be true, you will enter inside the case block, print all the lines of code, and then it is a free fall. Okay, so to avoid the free fall, and what do? We basically write a break keyword at the end of every case, so that the moment any one of the cases evaluates to be true, you enter inside, print the necessary lines, or do whatever logic you want to do inside that case, and then break and come outside the switch case block, entire switch block. Okay, yeah, case can be 0. That's not an issue. Okay, so this was integer, right? Now similarly, switch case and if else if, then what is? See, there is no difference, right? One difference is that in if else you can have your own complex conditions, but in switch case you can do just exact equality check. Okay, and typically we don't have much usage of a switch case, इसलिए मैंने skip भी कर दिया था उसको. But just for theoretical completeness that such a structure also exists, I am trying to take this up. Okay, yeah, you can use it, right? You can take it and try it there. Okay. Now, if you want to take a character variable, what can you do? Let's say, थोड़ा different कर लेते हैं. Char C is equal to, let's say, B. This is the character. And now I want to switch on the character C. So my cases will change, right? You can write a case F. If the character is F, what do you want to do? If the character is B, what do you want to do? Something like this, right? Something like this. And default. Okay. So if you run it here, this will print you. Okay. And similarly, you can also have strings as your switching variables. How do you use a string? Simple. String S is equal to whatever. Let's say hello. Okay. And then you can basically switch on S, and you can write here your cases. If case is hello, do this thing. And if case is, let's say, sayonara, do this thing. Something like this, right? So you can have strings also as the switching variable. No. You cannot use 2 condition check. That cannot be done. Okay. So is everyone clear with the basic switch case? No, you cannot use relational and logical operators inside the switch case, right? You can just do strict equality checks. Okay. So this was a small topic that was pending. So I thought that, let's get done with this so that, folks are clear. But anyways, right? So this was this thing, right? Now, what I will do is we will be taking some questions. Okay. But along with questions, please explain any question directly or indirectly. Bubble and let's solve mushkil problems. Okay. We will try to take up questions, right? For sure. But before even that, I think I saw some of the folks were using a method, okay, on Discord. And मैंने वो बताया नहीं था class में, तो I just thought कि मैं बता देता हूँ, might be helpful, right? So basically, guys, what is a string? If I ask you today at the end of module 1, what is a string? A string is nothing but a collection of characters, right? So you can treat your string like an array of characters. Okay. So I am not sure if I have done this before or not. So you can convert a string into an array of characters. Okay. And how do you convert your string into an array of characters? There is a built-in method, right? So you will get an array of characters. Let's call it ARR s dot to char array, something like this. Now I remember I have done this also. Okay. And similarly, if you want to convert your character array back into a string, you will have a method, right? You can create a new string. String s is equal to new string, and within brackets, you can write the name of the array. Okay. Cool. So everyone is aware of this, right? So now let's try to take up some questions. So I was thinking that I had given you some questions as homework. Did you guys try that? Did anyone try those questions which I had stated? Kar paaye ya what? How is your practice going on overall? चलो यार question निकालते हैं. We tried. Okay, one remaining to do. Yeah, lead code question, right? Last one tricky tha, anagram nahi aa raha tha. Okay. So what question do you want me to explain? Were you able to solve this question? Valid anagram bata deta hu abhi, koi dikkat nahi hai. This question, do you want me to discuss? Yes. Okay. Let's discuss it. Right. This is also an interesting question. Okay. So मैं discuss करता हूँ. I will take questions from that sheet, right? And we'll try to do it. Okay. No issues. ठीक है. तो चलो यार इस question को पढ़ते हैं पहले तो. Largest substring between two equal characters, right? So this is a string question, and it will involve some usage of arrays as well. Okay. So what is the question? Let us try to read the question. Given a string s, okay. Given a string s. Return the length of the longest substring between two equal characters, excluding the two characters. Okay. If there is no such substring, return -1. A substring is a contiguous sequence of characters within a string. Okay. So I am pretty sure all of you know what is a substring, what is a subsequence, what is a subarray, or something like that, right? So what is a substring? A substring is a continuous portion of any string, right? A continuous part, right? The characters should be contiguous. That is one after the other. So any contiguous sequence of characters within a string is called a substring. Now, what is this question telling me? This question is telling you have been given a string s. Okay, you have a string s. Now, what I want to do is I want to return the length of the longest substring between two equal characters. Okay, excluding the two characters. Okay. So let us try to read it. Let us try to understand the question. So the first input is AA. Okay. So what is the longest substring between two equal characters? See, these two characters are the same, right? I have to exclude these two characters. So what is the length of the longest substring if I exclude these two characters? 0. So my output is 0. See, the optimal substring here is an empty substring between the two A's. Okay. Between any two same characters, you have to find the length of the longest substring. Okay. Let us take this example. A, B, C, A. This is the string. Okay. This is the string. Now, where are we getting same characters? This is the A character and this is another character. Okay. एक बार Google कर लो, इसमें मिल जाएगा link. Largest substring between two equal characters lead code. Just Google it up, you will get, right? So in this string, you are having these two characters as the same. These are two same characters. Now, what is the substring between these two characters? This BC. And this is only one substring that is possible, right? So what should be my output? The length of the longest substring between two equal characters is 2. And that is my output. Okay. Now, let's take another example. CBZXY. Do you find any two same characters in this string? Do you find any two same characters? No. So the output will be -1. Boss, if there are no same characters in the string occurring, greater than 1 times, then definitely your result will be a -1. Okay. Any other input output? Can you? Chalo, मैं ही लिख के बताता हूँ. Okay, let's say that this is my string. Let's say this is my string, right? This is my string. What do you think should be the output? The length of the longest substring between two equal characters, excluding those two characters. Can anybody help me? Anybody? Okay. One to nahi hai yaar. If you see here, I tell you this is a character A and this is another character A. These two are same characters. Now, what is the length of the longest substring? See, there can be multiple options for you here, right? This A and this A. If you choose these two, you will get the length of the substring as 2. Hai na? Now, if you choose this A with this A, you will get a substring of length 5. Dekho? If you choose this A with this A, you will get a substring of length 8. Are you seeing, right? If you choose this B with this B, you will get a substring of length 3. So there are different options available to you, but you have to tell me the largest length of the substring. So can I tell you the largest substring will be available when you choose this A with this A, and then the length of the substring will be the length of the string minus 2. Do you agree? Yes. So is the question making sense? B से D तक होगा. Why? From B till D is my substring. Correct. Excluding these two characters. Is the input output making sense, guys? Then we'll try to discuss the approach. Input output समझ रहे? Right? Okay, guys. Cool. Previous question कौन से हो गए? What question? We just discussed about switch case, right? What about B, B, D, H, G, B? Again, I will say choose the first B and the last B. ठीक है? Let me repeat. देखो ये string वापस से लेता हूँ. A, B, C, A, B, B, A, C, D, A. Okay? Now what I want to find ki boss, I have to find the length of the longest substring between two equal characters. Okay. So what are two equal characters? If you see this B and this B, they are both the same characters, right? So what is the length of the substring between them? CAB, that is 3 letters. 3 is the length of the substring between these two Bs. Again, if I choose this A and I choose this A, what is the length of the substring between these two A's? 5. Okay. So there can be multiple substrings. Okay, there can be multiple different substrings between two equal characters. Okay, आप कोई भी दो अलग-अलग characters को पकड़ो, you can get a different substring between them. I have to tell you what is the length of the longest substring possible if I want to, pick up two similar characters or two same characters. Okay, so if I pick up this A and I pick up this A, then what is the length of the substring between these two equal characters? 8, or length of the total string minus 2. So this is the longest substring. आप मेरे को इससे बड़ा substring दिखा दो. You won't get a substring greater than this between two equal characters. Okay. If two similar length substring occurs, what will you do? Print any. Length से मतलब है ना, print any. Okay. Is this the question input output making sense? You have to tell me what is the length of the largest substring possible between any two equal characters in the string. Question clear है क्या सबको? Question clear होने से half तो you can understand. Yes. Okay, great. So let us try to come up with an approach, right? Let us try to come up with an approach. So the way I start thinking for this question, right? First and last character you can find. Okay, that can be one of the ways, right? See, there can be multiple ways of doing this question, right? I will help you guys with one particular way that I generally find very easy to understand. Okay. So let's go to the constraints once. Okay. So S is containing only lowercase English letters. Okay. See, it is not necessary that you have to solve it in big O of n only. You can try to do it using a big O of n square also, because the constraint, dekho, the length of the string is between 1 and 300. Very small length, right? So n square, n cube, all of these will also pass. That is not an issue. Okay. But let me try to come up with an good approach which will help you to learn further, right? Okay. So what do I say is, boss, my string is consisting of only characters from A to Z, right? My string is consisting of only lowercase English letters. That is one constraint. So what do I do is, I make a table, I make an array. Okay, I make an array of size 26. I make an array. I took 1 hour 45 to solve this question. Is this question hard or easy? This is a good question, right? I would say it's a medium question, to be honest, right? Medium types kuch hoga. ठीक है? The thinking part is good. मतलब अच्छा question है, ठीक है? So what do I say? I make an array of size 26. Okay. And I say this is table. Okay. This is my table array. Okay. Now, why 26? Because it will have indexes from 0 to 25. And what will I do? Pata hai? Initially, let me have all the places marked as -1. Let me have all the places marked as -1. Now see guys what I will do. What I will do. Okay. Let's take this simple example and we'll try to understand what I want to do. Okay. So I am at this character A. Okay. I am standing at this character A. I go to the table. What index should be mapping with character A? Can anybody help me? What index should map with character A? कोई मेरे को बता सकता है क्या? Anybody? Can anybody tell me what index? Index number 0, right? I go to index number 0 and I see that it is a -1. इसका मतलब this is the first occurrence of A that I am getting. So you know what I will do? I will write the index at which I have found this A. देखो, I have written the index at which I have found this first A. Okay? थोड़ा और ऐड कर लेते हैं ताकि इजी रहे समझने में आपको. ठीक है? This is the big string. Okay? So I go to index number 0 and I write 0. Ki boss, I have seen the first occurrence of A at index number 0. Now move forward, move forward. I come to B. So what I will do, I will go to index number 1 and I see that it is a -1. That means this is the first occurrence of B. So what I will do, I write index 1 here. Ki boss, character B is occurring for the first time at index number 1 in the string. Okay? And let's say I also have an answer variable, right? Which will keep track of what is the maximum length of the substring that we have got so far. Okay? Now I come to the character C. Again I see. Let's say यहाँ पे D ले लेते हैं. चलो D ले लेते हैं. ठीक है? I see what is the, I'm explaining this approach, right? I'm explaining this approach. Just follow here, right? So now see, I am at character number D. I am at character D. What index should this character D get mapped to? At index number 3. So I go to index number 3 and I see that there is a -1 here. That means this is the first occurrence of D. So I will go and write here that boss, character D occurs at index number 2 for the first time. ठीक है? यहाँ पे simplicity के लिए लिख देता हूँ A, B, C, D. Just for you to understand what character am I talking about, right? Now move forward, guys. Now I come to another occurrence of A. How do I know that this is not the first occurrence of A? Can anybody help me? मेरे को कैसे पता चलेगा कि this is not the first time that you are seeing A? How do I know this? Yes. When I go to index number 0, I see that there is not a -1 here. That means you have already seen an A. At what index? At index number 0. So मैं क्या बोलूंगा, guys? Now try to understand. I am standing at index number 3. I am at index number 3 of my string. And I am saying that I have already seen an A at index number 0. So what should I do, guys? What should I do? How to add at 3? Mohit, at what character D will get mapped to? D है ना? Character A will be mapped to index 0, B to 1, C to 2, and D to 3. Okay. अब देखो ऐसा सोचो कि when you are at this A, you see that you already have seen an A at index number 0. Okay. So this is the, not the first occurrence of A for sure. There is already an A at index number 0. So what is the length of the substring between these two A's? Can you help me, guys? What is the length of the substring between these two A's? 2, right? 2. How do I get this? 3 minus 0 minus 1. ये expression से आ रहा है क्या? 3 minus 0 minus 1. So I say, boss, I have a substring of length 2 in between these two A's. So I will say answer is equal to maximum of answer comma this length. So my answer will get updated as 2. Now guys, help me understand, should I update the index of A in this table or not? Should I update the index of A in this table or not? The answer is no. Boss, सोच के देखो, तुमको largest length चाहिए substring का. If you get another A in the future, what will you be more interested in? This A or this A? भैया ये के साथ choose करोगे ना उसको. 3 minus 0 minus 1 you are not getting. Okay. So help me with this thing. If I ask you something like this, this is index number 3, this is index number 4, this is index number 5. Okay? This is L, this is R. Okay? So how many numbers are there in between this? From L till R, if I ask you how many numbers are there from index L till R, there are 3 numbers, right? So how do we get this? R minus L plus 1, basic formula, right? 5 minus 3 plus 1. That is 3 elements are there from 3 till 5. है ना? और अब मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? I want to exclude these 2 elements. तो -2 कर दो, है ना? So क्या हो जाएगा? R minus L minus 1. That is what I have applied. R minus L minus 1. Are you getting it? What I'm trying to say? If I say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, how many numbers are from 3 till 7? How do I get it? 7 minus 3 plus 1. These are the numbers. देख लो. 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different numbers. And if I want to ignore these end points, then I'll do a -2. So 3 different numbers. Making sense, guys? समझ आ रहा है क्या? तो अब मेरे को एक चीज बताओ guys कि when I am standing on this instance of A, I updated my answer. ठीक है? But should I update the index at which A is occurring? No, because I am interested in the largest substring. I am interested in the largest substring, right? तो मैं नहीं update करूंगा because if you get an A later in the string ना, it will be more beneficial for you to pair it with this A than this A. Logic समझ में आ रहा है? If I choose this A with this A, you will get a smaller length. But if you choose this A with this A, you will get a larger length. So that is why we don't update the index. Okay, move forward. I come to this character B. Has character B occurred in the string before? Yes, it has already occurred in the string before. So what is the length? समझ नहीं आया. Okay, let me take it once again. हाँ, मैं बताता हूँ. See, first of all, the very, very interesting thing that I want you guys to understand, you can approach through nested loops. Why not? But I'm trying to, make you guys understand the more optimal approach because concepts we have discussed, right? Now it is more of logic. ऐसा कोई concept नहीं है कि अब तुम लोग को नहीं आता हो. ठीक है? So let's try to understand. First of all, if I ask you to tell you, boss, this is index number 3 of the array and this is index number 8. Can you tell me how many elements are between 3 and 8? From 3 till 8. आपको count करना है. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Now, how do you get this expression? You get this expression via 8 minus 3 plus 1. यहाँ तक सबको समझ आ रहा है. This is basic maths. If you want to count how many numbers are between 3 and 8, both inclusive, then it is 8 minus 3 plus 1. Okay. So if I tell you this is index L, this is index R, how many elements are there in the sub array from index number L till index number R, both inclusive? If I ask you how many numbers are there, how many elements are there in this sub array from index L till R, both inclusive, what will be your answer? R minus L plus 1. Plus 1 क्यों? गिन लो यार, मैच करके देख लो. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 elements, right? And how do you get these 6 elements? 8 minus 3 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. Is this making sense, guys? So first of all, it's important to understand this formula. That is, if you want to count how many elements are there in this sub array from L to R, if you include both these indexes, then it is R minus L plus 1. Is this making sense to everyone? Important. Yes? No? How do I make you guys understand this? भाई, verify कर लो खुद से, ठीक है? अगर proof नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, just verify yourself, right? How many elements are from 3 to 8? 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 indexes, right? So you'll get 6 elements. And how do you get this 6? 8 minus 3 plus 1. So this is a general formula. If you have to find out how many elements are there from index L till R, okay, L till R, both inclusive, it's R minus L plus 1. Now, what was the question telling? अब देखो, अगर तुम मेरे को एक चीज बताओ. If I tell you, let's say, something like this. ठीक है? अब देखो. Now, let's say when I come here, what do I see? What is this index, guys? This index is 4. This index is 4, right? And I know that you have already seen an A at index number 0. Okay. So how many elements are there from index number 0 till 4? How many elements? 4 minus 0 plus 1. इतने elements है. From index 0 till index 4, both inclusive. But I don't want to consider these two A's when I count the length of the substring. So I will do a -2. And how do I get this thing? This is nothing but 4, 4 plus 1 minus 2. So it is as good as, 4 minus 0 minus 1. See? So this gives you a general formula. That is, if you are, counting the length of the substring from index L till index R, but I have to exclude these two indexes, what will be your output? R minus L plus 1 minus 2. That is R minus L minus 1. This is the length of the substring. Okay? Why -2? Because you want to skip L and R ना. अरे मैं दोनों A को काउंट थोड़ी करना चाहता हूं, तो -2 तो करना पड़ेगा ना. R minus L plus 1 will give me the length of this entire substring from index 0 till index 4. But I have to, don't count these two A's. Now that is given in the question. Okay. Is this making sense or do you find it too difficult to follow? R की वैल्यू 0 तो होगी नहीं, पहली बात है ना. See, R minus L minus 1. See, what I am trying to make you guys see, don't go into the question at this point of time. First of all, you need to understand this thing very clearly. That is, if you are given two indexes L and R, how many elements are there in this subarray from L to R if I want to include both of them? I want to include indexes L and R. Both the indexes are inclusive. Then how many elements are there in this subarray? It is R minus L plus 1. This is the general formula. Now, in this question, what do we want to do? कि boss, अगर मैं तुमको बोलता हूं कि hey Abhishek, one A is occurring at index number 2 and another A is occurring at index number 5. So I ask you, how many characters are in this substring? In between these two A's, I don't want to count these two A's. So what you will tell? 5 minus 2 plus 1. This is the length of the substring if I include both the indexes, that is both the A's. But I don't want to count both the A's, so do a -2. So the general formula will be R minus L minus 1. Okay, if you don't want to include the elements at L and R. ठीक है? अब देखो मैं क्या लॉजिक बोल रहा हूँ. ठीक है, अब देखो y plus 1. Try to write an example and देखो तो +1 चाहिए होगा या नहीं. Okay. If we found two same characters, get the substring between their indexes. You can also do it like that, right? You can also get the substring, but if you don't need the substring, why do you want to use that function, right? Okay. So now let's take an example once again. Okay, let's take this thing, right? So what do I say? First of all, let's make a table of size 26. Okay. So it will have indexes from 0 to 25. And I know that index number 0 will contain information for A, index number 1 will contain information for B, index number 2 will contain information for C, and likewise. And initially this table will consist of all elements as -1. Okay? सब जगह -1 होगा. All the entries will be -1. Okay? Now what do? I start iterating through the string. I come to this character A. Okay? मैं index number 0 पे जाता हूँ and I see that there is a -1. That means this is the first time A is occurring. So I will write here index 0. I will write here the index. Okay. The boss at index number 0, A is occurring for the first time. Okay. Let's take another D here only. और एक C इधर ले लेते हैं. Now I will come to index number 1. This is a B. So I go to index number 1 of my table and I see that there is a -1. So I will write here that boss, the first occurrence of character B is at index number 1. Okay. Now I come to D. Where will I go? I will go to index number 3 of my table and I see that there is a -1. That means this is the first occurrence of D. So I will say that boss, D is occurring for the first time at index number 2. Okay. Move forward. Now I come to this D. ठीक है. अब देखो यहाँ पे इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट होता है स्टार्ट. ओके. Now I am standing at what index? Index number 3 and there is a D. So I go to index number 3 of my table, which is, defined for D. And I see that the number is not -1. That means I have already seen a D before. So the current location of D is index number 3. The last time where you had seen D is index number 2. So how many characters are there in between both of these Ds? If I want to exclude both of these Ds, then it is the current index is 3. The previous occurrence was at 2. So 3 minus 2 minus 1. These will be the number of characters in between these two Ds. Is this making sense? And I have an answer variable equal to 0. Okay. So how many characters in between the Ds? It is 0. So I will say answer is equal to maximum of answer comma this. So answer will remain 0 only. Okay. But see guys, now a very important point to understand is, do you say here that boss, you have seen a D at index number 3? No, you don't say ना. Because देखो अगर future में आपको कोई D मिलेगा ना आगे, you will not want to pair it with this D. You will want to pair it with the earlier D. so that the length between the two Ds is becoming maximum. Are you getting my point, what I'm trying to say? Is this understanding making sense, right? So I don't do anything because I'm just interested in the first occurrence of D. So chalo badhte hain aage. Now I come to this index number 4 and this is a A. So I go to my table at index number 0 and I see why. We will get explanation also in. हाँ, correct Karishma. If you want the minimum substrings, you will have to update it. सही है, ठीक है. You will get explanation. No, definitely, man. No, you will have to understand it. Okay. Now see, why is index number 2 minus 1? Can anybody help me? Why is index number 2 minus 1 till now in my table? क्यों? अभी तक मैं D तक process क्यों? Why it is minus 1? Boss, what is this table telling? Where is the first occurrence of, index number 2 stands for C. So abhi tak I have not encountered a C, na? That is why. So now I come to this character A at index number 4. So what do? I basically go to index number 0 of my table, which is for, A. And I see that, yes, there is an occurrence of A at index 0. So can you tell me how many characters are in between these two A's? 4 minus 0 minus 1. Do you agree? Verify for yourself. 3 characters. Yes. So I will say answer is equal to maximum of answer, comma, this thing. So answer will get updated as 3. Boss, I have got the length of the substring as 3 between two same characters. Okay? But will you update the index of A at index number 0 in the table? क्या तुम बोलोगे A is occurring at index number 4? No, definitely not, right? Because I am interested in getting the maximum length of the substring. So I am more interested in just the first occurrence of A. So I will move forward. Okay? I come to this D. Okay? So where do I go? I will go to index number 3 of my table and I see that, boss, I have already seen a D at index number 2 and this D is at index number 5. So how many characters are there between these two Ds? 5 minus 2 minus 1, which is nothing but 2 characters. Wait. I think we have done something wrong. Okay. Yeah, 3 होगा. नहीं, यहाँ तो 2 ही होगा. हाँ, सही है ना? See, this is the length, right? Do you understand? 5 minus 2 minus 1. See na? 5 minus 2 is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2, right? See, this is also a D, na? That is why. Okay? So this will give me the answer as 2. And maximum of 2 comma answer will be 3 itself, right? So answer will not get updated. Now I move forward. I come to another A. So where do I go? I see that A has occurred at index number 0. And this time you are getting an A at index number 6. So how many characters are there between the two A's? 6 minus 0 minus 1. That means 5 characters. So I will say answer is equal to maximum of answer, comma, this one. So answer will get updated to 5. Ki boss, now I have got a substring of length 5 in between two same characters. Now let's move further. I come to this character C. Okay. Now I go to index number 2 of my table and see that there has been no occurrence of C before. So I write here 7. I write here 7. Ki boss, the first occurrence of C is at index number 7. Okay. How will we know that A has occurred previously? Because the entry in this table will be other than -1. -1 matlab A nahi hai. Or if there is any other entry apart from -1, that is means you have seen A at that particular index. Okay. Now I move forward. I come to this B. Okay. Now, where do I know if I have seen a B before or not? I will go to index number 1 of my table and I see that, yes, I have seen character B at index number 1. So मैं क्या करूँगा? Answer is equal to maximum of answer, comma, 8 minus 1 minus 1. 8 is the current index of B. The first occurrence of B is at index 1. So how many characters are there between these two B's? 8 minus 1 minus 1. So it is 7 minus 1, that is 6. So answer will get updated to 6. Ki boss, you have 6 characters in the longest substring between two equal characters. And dekh lo, DDA, DAC. This is this substring that we are talking about. Now what do? I move forward. I come to this D. Okay. I will go to index number 3 and check that, yes, a D has occurred before at index 2. And this is index number 9. So what is the length of this substring if I exclude both the D's? 9 minus 2 minus 1. Okay. That is 6. So answer will remain 6 only. Let's move forward. Now, what is this? This is an A. Go to index 0. You have already seen the first occurrence of A at index number 0. Okay. So what I will say, this is index number 10. So how many characters are occurring between these two A's? 10 minus 0 minus 1, that is 9. And answer will get updated with 9. Okay. Then I come to this B. This is index number 11. Now, where will I see what is the first occurrence of character B? Go to index number 1 of my table, and I will see that yes, the content is 1. That means 1 is the index where B has occurred for the first time. So what is the length of this substring? 11 minus 1 minus 1. 10 minus 1, 9. So answer will remain 9 itself. And at the end of the day, you will return your answer, which is 9. How many of you understand what we are trying to do? It's a little bit tricky, but if you understand, you will, get that. Okay. So let's write the code, right? Let's write the code. It will become more clear, folks. Yeah. ठीक है, code भी लिखेंगे भाई, क्यों नहीं लिखेंगे, बिल्कुल लिखेंगे. Yes, let's try to write the code. Okay, let's try to write the code. Now, okay, I'll show the nested also if you want, right? Nested should be simple enough, right? But yeah, let's try to do it, right? So first of all, what do? I make a table, right? And let me, say the name of the table like first occur, okay? So that it's more meaningful, right? So I'm making a table first occur. I'm basically making a new array of size 26, okay? And what should be the values inside this initially? मैंने क्या बोला था? All the entries should be -1. Okay, -1, -2, anything that you want, you can put in. Okay. So for int I equal to 0, I less than 26, I plus plus, I will say first occur of I is equal to -1. So I've set all the entries as -1. Now what do I do? Let me have a variable answer. Yeah, you can expect this in the hard one. Okay. Agar it should be towards the medium or hard, right? Something like that. Okay. Or otherwise, what you see, you can do it using nested loops, right? Nested loops is pretty simple. Did all of you were able to do it using nested loops? See, if this question passes through nested loops, now then it is more of a medium question, not a hard question. अगर आप nested loop से करते हो, then this is a medium question. This approach should be a better approach, right? Gooder तो कुछ होता नहीं है. Okay. Passed by nested loops, great. So I will say all of you, please try this same question using nested loops. कुछ नहीं है. एक loop will fix one character and the other loop will iterate all the way through the right hand side of the string. Okay. And it will check whenever you get the same character, update the maximum length. Same चीज कर रहे हो. Okay. So using nested loops, you should be able to do on your own. Okay. And this approach is a better approach, which I am sharing with you. Okay. Now what do I do? Int answer is equal to, let's say I've initialized it with 0. Okay. Because I want to get the maximum length, right? So what do I do? Now let us start iterating through the string. For int I equal to 0, I less than s dot length, I plus plus. I am iterating through the string. Now what do I check? What is the current character, guys? What is the current character? What is the current character? It is s dot char at I. This is the current character that I am standing on. And what should be the index? What should be the index of this part? हाँ चलो ठीक है, आंसर को -1 करो. This is better. हाँ ठीक है, great. I understand where that is coming from, Shubham. Great, thank you. Okay, so I have initialized the answer with -1. I will tell you later, right? मेरा गलती था. Okay, so s dot char at I is the current character that I am standing on. And what should be the index for this particular character in the table? Can you help me? ये character का index क्या है table में, कैसे पता चलेगा? I will subtract -a. Do you all agree? This will tell me what is the index for this particular character in the table. So what do? I write something like this. If, okay, I will go to the first occurrence table. Okay. If first occurrence of this particular character, right, I will go to, this particular index of the first occurrence table, and I see that if the first occurrence is not equal to -1, then what should I do, guys? Can you help me? If the first occurrence of the character that I am standing on is not -1, that means you have already seen the character before. So what should I do? I will say answer is equal to math.max. I will update my answer now. The answer is equal to math.max of answer, comma. What should I write, guys? Can anybody help me? Anybody? Expression, can you help me? I minus फर्स्ट ऑकर, थोड़ा बड़ा हो गया ये, फर्स्ट ऑकर ऑफ, यार इसको एक काम करते हैं, एक वेरिएबल में ले लेते हैं, थोड़ा बड़ा हो जाएगा वरना. ठीक है, just writing it in a variable so that I don't have to, write it again and again. ओके ठीक है, अब मैं बोलता हूँ बॉस आई नो दैट व्हाट इज द फर्स्ट ऑकरेंस ऑफ द करंट कैरेक्टर दैट आई एम स्टैंडिंग ऑन. ओके एंड इफ द इंडेक्स ऑफ द फर्स्ट ऑकर, ऐसा लिखते हैं इसको, थोड़ा नेमिंग क्लियर करते हैं, फर्स्ट ऑकर इंडेक्स. So if the first occur index is not -1, what do I do, guys? I will update my answer. The answer is equal to math.max of answer, comma, what? R minus L minus 1. What is R? R is nothing but I, the current index that you are standing on. What is L? L is nothing but this first occur index. Okay, so first occur index minus 1. Okay, so I will update answer. Okay, answer update. Do you need to update the index of the occurrence inside the table? No, because we are only interested in the first occurrence index. Okay. Else, what should I do, guys? If the first occurrence index is indeed -1, then what do? I will simply update the table. Boss, first occur. Okay, first occur of what? S dot char at I minus A. I will go to this particular index and write here what? I. Make sense? I'll just write that this is the index at which the first occurrence of this character is made. That's it, guys. That's it. Okay. And outside this for loop, your job is done and you simply return answer. Okay. इसको पहले तो run करके देखते हैं. Now see what happened, guys. If you don't get any character twice, if all the characters are distinct now, then answer will never get updated and it will remain -1. So you will return -1. Okay. Let's try to run this code. हाँ बताता हूँ एक बार, एक second. Let me run the code. Let's try to submit it. Okay. So it ran fine. Right? Now let us try to understand once more, right? I'll try to explain it once again so that folks are clear. Line number 11. अच्छा, line number 11 में I am pretty sure that most of you are struggling here. What is this thing that I am trying to do, right? भाई ऐसा समझो, when you are standing, when the current character is C, at what index you should store this information in the table. मैं बोल रहा हूँ index number 0 is for character A, okay, index number 1 is for character B, index number 2 is for character C. ठीक है, मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि these are the indexes at which I will be storing. ठीक है, मैं starting से बताता हूँ, चलो एक बार बताइए देखो. See, first of all, what I am doing is, this line is pretty simple. I am just making an array of size 26 and then I am initializing all the entries as -1. Now, what does it mean? Basically, in this array, I am storing the index of the first occurrence of the characters, right? So at index number 0, I will store the first occurrence of character A. कि भैया किस index पे character A पहली बार occur किया है. At index number 1 of my table, I will be storing at what index I see the first occurrence of B. ठीक है. Similarly, at index number 25, I will be storing what is the first occurrence of character Z. ये टेबल का मीनिंग समझ में आ रहा है क्या? ये टेबल बता रहा है where is the first occurrence of the particular character. And initially, I will make all as -1s. No, what is not clear with this table? भाई मैं बोल रहा हूं ये जो डब्बा है ना इंडेक्स नंबर 1, ये मेरे को बताएगा what is the first occurrence of character B inside my string. Okay. Similarly, this index number 25 in the table, this will tell me what is the first occurrence of character Z in my string. ठीक है. अब I have made answer to -1. मैंने ना आंसर को -1 पे इनिशियलाइज कर दिया. Why? Because if you don't get any two same characters, मान लो all the characters in your string are distinct. मान लो all the characters in your string are distinct. Then will you ever enter the if part? Tell me. If all the characters in your string are distinct, will you ever enter the if part? No. Every time you will enter the else part and you will set the first occurrence index and answer will never get updated. और question में क्या लिखा था? If you cannot find any such substring between two same characters, then return -1. That is why I have initialized answer with -1. कि boss, अगर दो duplicate element दिखे ही नहीं, then answer will remain at -1 and you will be returning -1 at the end of the day. Now try to understand what we try to do. I iterate through the string, ठीक है? And what do I understand first of all? Let's say you are standing on the character D. तो सबसे पहले मैं जानना चाहता हूँ भैया, what is the index in my table that I should be looking up for information for D? देखो ये D का information कहीं स्टोर है ना इस टेबल में. बट मेरे को कौन से इंडेक्स पे मिलेगा, एट व्हाट इंडेक्स आई विल गेट द फर्स्ट ऑकरेंस ऑफ ए ऑफ कैरेक्टर डी. सो आई नो दैट index number 3 maps to character D. How will I get this? When I say D minus A, what will happen? The ASCII of A is 97 and the ASCII of B is 98, 99, 100. D ka hai 100. So when you do 100 minus 3, 97, you will get 3. Which is the index at which you will get information for character D? So when I say S dot character I, this is the current character. And when you subtract character A from it, now this will give you the index at which you will find information about your character. ठीक है, तो मैंने इंडेक्स निकाला and then I go to the I go to this index of my table. कि मान लो मैं कैरेक्टर D पे हूं ना, I am standing on a character D. So what do? I do D minus A. What is D minus A? D minus A is 3. So I will go to index number 3 of the first occur table. Okay, and I see that there is a -1 here. So I write, I take this entry in first occur index. Okay. So this first occur index is telling me the index where you have seen character for the first time. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? What I'm trying to say? इस line का meaning समझ में आया है क्या? आप एक current character पे खड़े हो. Let's say you are standing at character M. Okay. So you do M minus A. That will tell you कौन सा index is storing information for M. You go to that index, read the value and store it in first occur index. So this will tell you, what is A? Is a character. A is a character. Okay. So this will tell you what is the first occurrence index of the current character that you are standing on. Now what am I telling you? If the first occurrence index is not -1, okay. If the first occurrence index is not -1, that means I have already seen the occurrence of the current character. So what do I do? I simply update my answer. भैया ऐसा समझो कि आंसर आपका है -1, but now you are standing on character D, which you have already seen before. That means now you have got a valid substring now. So you will compute the length of the valid substring between the two Ds, which is nothing but, let's say, the second occurrence of D is occurring at index number 8. And the first occurrence was index number 3. Then what is the length of the substring between these two? 8 minus 3 minus 1. So I do I minus first occurrence minus 1. This will give me the length of the substring between these two Ds. And then I update my answer. The answer is equals to maximum of -1 comma this. So that will get updated. Okay. Is it making sense, guys? Else, let's say if you see that first occurrence index is -1, that means this is the first occurrence. You are standing on the first occurrence. So what you will do? You will go inside this particular index and you will write here ki boss, index number I is the first occurrence of the current character. Is it making sense? No. Try to understand, guys. It should not be first index of under. See, every character has a particular index, right? So you cannot do like that, right? In the table, it is fixed that character A will be mapped with index number 0. Character B का information is at index number 1. ये मेरा table में fix कर दिया मैंने. Okay. Line 18 में first occurrence index भी लिख सकते हो. What is line 18? First occurrence index. No. If you enter the else part, that means first occurrence index is -1 na. So how can you? Okay, let me try to do a dry run, guys. That will make it clear. I actually wanted to cover some more also, but okay, I think we'll spend time. Anyways, ठीक है यार. तो चलो एक सिंपल सा स्ट्रिंग लेते हैं. A B C D, थोड़ा अलग ले लेते हैं. B C A D B A. ठीक है? Very simple thing, right? Now let's try to go further, right? So what have I done? देखो मेरा array जो है ना, मैं देखो एकदम सबसे simplest terms में I'm trying to explain, okay? I have made a first occurrence table of size 26 because I need only 26 cells, okay? Because there can be at most 26 different type of characters in my, original string. So index number 0 pe, I will store what is the first occurrence index of A, okay? And index number 25 will contain the index at which character Z occurs for the first time. And initially I have set all as -1 because I don't know whether these guys occur in the string or not. Now what do? I iterate through the string. Okay. So I am at index number 1. I ka value 1 hai. Okay. Now, first of all, I want to see what is the first occurrence index of B. So what do? I calculate what is the index. देखो मैं पहले बोलता हूँ भैया मैं B पे खड़ा हूं ना, तो what should be the index which will contain information for B in this table? कहाँ पे मैं स्टोर कर रहा हूँ? I will be storing information at index number 1 for B, है ना? And how do I get to this one? I will say the current character is B. Okay, I subtract A from it, so this will give me 1. So I go to this will be 1. So I will go to index number 1 of this table. Okay, and मैं क्या करूंगा? I find what is the first occurrence index, that is -1. So first occur index will be -1 at this point of time. So I check, is the first occurrence index of B -1? Not -1, no it's not. So I will enter the else part. And what do I do in the else part? I will say, boss, this is the first occurrence index, right? The value of I is the first occurrence index. So again, I go to index number 1. Okay, this will give me 1. I go to this index and I write here the value of I, which is 0. So I will be writing here 0. देखो मेरा कैसा दिखेगा यार? At index number 1, I will write 0. Because the first occurrence of B is at index number 0. यहाँ तक समझ में आया क्या? Else part. Is the else part making sense? I'm not sure how many folks are clear. I'm trying to break it down into as simple as possible, right? Is this making sense? All others are -1. That means the first occurrence of character B is at index number 0. Else part repeat. See, what is happening in the else part? देखो भैया, मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ. You guys comfortable with Hindi once? आप कैरेक्टर नंबर बी पे हो अभी, ठीक है? आप जाके अपने टेबल में देख रहे हो कि कैरेक्टर बी का इंफॉर्मेशन कहां पे है. कैरेक्टर बी का जो इंफॉर्मेशन है ना, वो इंडेक्स नंबर 1 पे है. तो आप इंडेक्स नंबर 1 पे गए और आपने देखा यहाँ पे -1 लिखा हुआ है. तो मैं क्या देख रहा हूं? देखो, मैं गया इंडेक्स नंबर 1 पे और मैंने वो एलिमेंट को स्टोर कर लिया ये वेरिएबल में, और मैं देख रहा हूं कि बॉस, इफ फर्स्ट ऑकरेंस इज नॉट -1, ओके, तब तो ये करो. एल्स पार्ट पे मैं कब जाऊंगा? व्हेन द फर्स्ट ऑकरेंस इंडेक्स इज -1, जब मेरे टेबल में -1 एंट्री था. इसका मतलब मैं बी पहली बार देख रहा हूं अभी. आई एम स्टैंडिंग ऑन द फर्स्ट ऑकरेंस ऑफ बी. सो व्हाट डू? आई गो हियर एंड आई ओवरराइट दिस -1 विद द करंट इंडेक्स व्हिच इज आई. अब समझ में आ रहा है? Okay, I'll move further anyhow. I think I cannot break it down more simpler than this. Okay, so basically now I have written that boss at index number 0, B is occurring for the first time. Okay, now let's move further. I becomes 1, so I am at index number 1. What is the current character? The current character is character C, S dot caret I. Then I do a -A, so I will get 2. So I go to index number 2 of my table, and I see there is a -1. So first occurrence index is -1. So I will enter the else block and I will write, boss, the first occurrence of character C is at index number 1, which is nothing but I. तो मैं यहाँ पे 1 लिख दिया. फट बता देता हूँ. I'll move further. Okay. Then what will happen? I come to this A. Again, you will calculate the index for A in the table, which is index 0. You will see that at index 0, you have a -1. So you will enter into the else part and you will write here, boss, at index number 2, you have the first occurrence of A. Okay. Next, when you move forward, you have a D. Okay, and again what you will do, you'll go to index number 3 and write that boss D is occurring at index number 3 for the first time. Now when you come to this BC, you will go into the if part, right? Because the current character is B. कहाँ पे information मिलेगा? B minus A. What is B minus A? Index number 1. So I go to index number 1 of my table and I see that the element is 0. So the first occur index is 0. So I will enter the if part. Ki boss, the first occurrence index of B is 0 and not -1. That means you have already seen a B beforehand. So I will go inside the if block and I will update my answer. Ki boss, you have a possible substring. You have a possible substring for the answer. So what will be answer? Maximum of answer, comma, what is the current index? I. What is the index of the first occurrence? First occur index. So I minus first occurrence index -1. That will give you the length of the substring if you exclude both these B's, and you will update your answer. Making sense, guys? And when the for loop terminates, you will just return answer. I don't think we should spend more time on this than this. Okay. So I hope folks are clear with this. Okay. I just wanted to discuss this way. Hopefully. Yeah. Our nested loops के साथ करना try, guys. Nested loops for sure you should be able to do now. Okay. Why you take length 26? Because there are 26 letters in the English. Okay. A to Z. If there were 27 or 28, I would have taken up like that. Okay. ठीक है यार. So abhi let's go to some other question. Yeah, it's a single. If I ask you the time complexity, can you help me? It's a big O of n time complexity. And what is the space complexity? Anybody can help me with the space complexity? It's a big O of 1 space complexity. Okay, because you are making a new array of size 26 only. That is nowhere dependent on n. So the time complexity is big O of n and the space complexity is big O of 1. Okay. Let's move forward. What's the time? It's already 9:15, right? So let me take up a question. Valid anagram ले लेते हैं यार, बहुत जन ने बोला था, बहुत जन ने. ठीक है. How to come up with optimized solution? It's more on practice. It's more on practice, right? Let's remove this heavy solution. Okay, valid anagram is a good question, right? Valid anagram is a good question. I was thinking that some of you might be able to solve it. Okay, there can be multiple approaches. Okay, okay. Pranshu will not be taking new questions, right? We'll be just taking the questions which were given as assignments so that folks are clear with those. Okay. Okay. So let's read this question. Let's read this question. Okay. I can take up your doubts separately, but I think in the class we shouldn't divert. Okay. So given two strings S and T, return true if T is an anagram of S and false otherwise. Okay. An anagram is a word or phrase formed by rearranging the letters of a different word or phrase, typically using all the original letters once. Now, what is the meaning of an anagram? Let us try to understand. Okay. So anagram basically hua kya? Let's say this is the first string is anagram and the second string T that is given to you, this is Nagaram. Okay. So whether these two are anagrams of each other, the answer is yes. Why? What is an anagram? The same characters will be there in jumbled order. Okay. The same characters will be there in jumbled order. Dekho, this is A. Here there is also one A. This is A. This is also an A. This is an N. This is an N. See, the same characters are there, but in jumbled order. G, G, R, R, A, A, M, M. Matlab, you take a string, right? And you just jumble all the characters, right? Then you will form anagrams. Okay. So when do I say that two strings are anagrams? If they are containing the same characters, the composition of both the strings should be the same. Okay. Just the characters will be jumbled. Okay. Ab agar aap dekho second example, right? If you look at the second example, rat and car, are these anagrams? You will say no, because here there is a T, here there is a C. No way these two can be anagrams, right? If two strings are anagrams, now they will contain the same letters, the same characters in jumbled order. Okay. So agar, try to understand, guys. If there is something like this, A, B, C, then if I ask you, is this an anagram? Is this an anagram? No, because here there was only one B, but here you are magically producing two Bs. But is this an anagram? C, B, A, A, or let's say A, B, C, A, C, B, A. A, C, B, A is an anagram because see, you take all the characters of this string and jumble them up. You will get ACBA. समझ आ रहा है? See, two A's, two A's, one B, one B, one C, one C. All the characters are same, just in jumbled up order. So is the question clear to everyone? Jumbled मतलब इधर उधर कर दो, सिर्फ character को आगे पीछे कर दिया और कुछ नहीं किया. Okay. Okay. So can anybody come up with an approach? A very simple approach जो कुछ लोग तो पक्का किए होंगे. Sorting. Did anybody try a sorting approach? See, if I ask you two strings are anagrams, if I tell you, hey, you know what? Two strings are anagrams. Two strings are anagrams. उसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Both of them are containing the same characters just in jumbled up order. So if I sort both of these strings, won't I get the same contents, the exact same contents? देखो. If you sort this string anagram, what you will get? A, G, M, L, M, N, R. Do you agree? This is the sorting of this string S. Do you agree, guys? This is the sorted order of this string. Huh? Okay. And if you sort this string T, also you will get AAA, G, M, N, R if they are anagram. Can you tell me why? Because that is the definition of anagrams. Now, same characters in jumbled up order. So if you sort both of these strings, right, they should have the same contents. Okay. So one quick way of checking will be you sort both the strings. Okay. Sort कर लेते हैं, है ना? तो अभी sort करने के लिए मेरे को yes lexicographically, right? We can do it in O of n. I will do it in O of n. Don't worry. How do I sort a string? I don't know how do I sort a string, right? So let's make an array of characters. अच्छा, सबसे पहले तो guys tell me if s dot length not equal to t dot length. Can I say they are not anagrams? Agar the length of the strings only is different, how can they be anagrams, boss? Okay. So simply return false. So here I have ruled out the case that if the lengths of the strings are different, definitely they are not anagrams and you return a false. So now what I'm telling you is at line number 7, I know that the length of string S and T are the same. Okay. So what do? I have to sort both these strings and compare their contents, right? I want to compare their contents. So भाई क्या करेंगे हम लोग? Can I sort a string? I don't know how to sort a string, right? So let us make individual character arrays for both the strings. Okay. So char, let me call it SRR. This is the for string S. Okay. What do? S dot to char array. Okay. Now what do? Char TRR is equal to S dot to char array. Oh, comparator we won't be needing for this, right? Let's not dive into complex things at this point of time. Okay. No, Neil, they are not anagrams, right? Anagrams mean the same characters must be jumbled up. The same character, same number of times. Dekho na. Try to understand. If there is only ABC, na, the second string can also contain ABC. Agar A एक बार आया ना, तो in the second string A should be coming once only, right? Okay, so I have converted both the strings into character array, and now let us sort. Now let us sort both of them. Arrays dot sort SRR. Okay, arrays dot sort TRR. Okay. Now what do I have to do? I just have to compare the contents of the array. So what do? For int I equal to 0, I less than let's say s dot length, or let's say SRR dot length. Line 8 is wrong. What is line 8? Why is line 8 wrong? Why? क्योंकि तो है कुछ गड़बड़ है क्या? I see it good enough only. Okay. So now I will iterate over the arrays, and what do I say? What do I say? If ध्यान से देखो guys, if SRR of I is not equal to TRR of I, what do I say? What do I see? If SRR of I is not equal to TRR of I, can I simply return a false? Because both the arrays should have exact same contents. And if you come successfully outside this for loop, you can return true. Okay. Let us try to run it. Arrays.sort is valid for character array as well. Let us see. Run करके देख लेते हैं यार. Error देगा तो नहीं होगा. चल गया तो चल जाएगा. है ना? Seems it's valid. Good enough. It's valid for primitive data types, right? Not a problem. Okay. So it ran fine, right? It ran fine. Acha. Is this approach making sense to everyone? I want to discuss a couple of approaches for this question, right? Because then you will understand how do you start optimizing. This is the most basic brute force, approach that you guys can come up with, right? This is the most basic approach. Sabko samajh mein aa raha hai approach? What is the time complexity for this approach? Can anybody help me? What is sorting? Samajh nahi aaya character mein. Why? You are just sorting, right? What is a character? A character is at the end of the day an ASCII number only, right? So you will be sorting. So can I say it's n log n time complexity? And what is the space complexity? Big O of n? Yes. So big O of n space complexity and big O of n log n time complexity. Is this understanding making sense? No, n square kaise hua, boss? How n square? No. Let me take an example, right? Let's just take a quick example, okay? So let's say the first string is anagram, okay? And let's say the second string is nagaram. Okay? Now I want to see if these two strings are anagrams or not. Let me try to do a dry run of this code, right? So what do? First of all, I create a character array SRR, and what will that array contain? A, N, मैं individual characters पे quotes नहीं लगा रहा हूँ, okay? A, N, A, G, R, A, M, right? So this is an array of characters. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'll come to your doubts. 1 second. हाँ, arrays.equal से करना हो करके देख लो. That is also fine, right? So this is how my SRR will look like. Okay. And how will my TRR array look like? TRR will look like N, A, G, A, R, A, M. All of these are characters. Now what do I say? Sort these two arrays. I say sort. Okay. So when you sort SRR array, how will it look like? A, G, LMN, OP, GMNR. Okay. This is how it will look like. And how will TRR look like? TRR will also have the same contents, because if they are anagrams, the contents of the array should be the same. Okay. What is 2-char array? It is used to convert a string to a character array, because strings are nothing but collection of characters. Now what do? I know that the length of both the strings are the same. So I just iterate over the array. I come here. I check, boss, if this character doesn't match with this character, see, the contents of both the arrays should be 100% identical if they are anagrams. So the moment you find any discrepancy that this and this are not equal, you return a false. Otherwise, move forward. This and this equal nahi hai equal, koi dikkat nahi, aage badho, aage badho, aage badho. So you will verify that all the characters in both the arrays are equal, and so you come outside the for loop and you return a true. Is this making sense? Time complexity बताए sort में n log n कैसे हो रहा है? Can you guys tell me? I think I told you guys ना that arrays.sort uses an sorting technique that is n log n. इसमें मैं क्या बताऊं? N log n implementation that provides us. Okay. Line 13, can we always take negative case? Yeah. Because see now, the moment you find any discrepancy, you know that they are not anagrams, return a false, right? But if all the characters match, then outside the for loop, you can say that yes, both the strings are anagrams. And what is the space complexity? What are you doing? You are creating these two separate character arrays, right? And the size of each character array will be the size of the string. So these two arrays are consuming extra space, right? So big O of n. Okay. Or to be more precise, big O of length of s plus length of t. That is the extra space that you are consuming. Is it making sense, guys? See, the most important point here to understand is if two strings are anagrams, their sorted sequence should be the same. Okay. Making sense? Can I move to the next approach? Now, this approach is basically n log n. Okay. Time complexity is n log n. Can I optimize it further? I want to bring it down to big O of n, from big O of n log n. Okay. How do I optimize? So मैंने क्या बोला, guys? Two strings are anagrams if they have the same characters in jumbled up order. That means both the strings, okay, all the characters will be the same and their quantity should also be the same. Look at this. This was string anagram, okay, and this was string nagaram. So if I look at the frequency of multiple characters now, the frequency of all the characters should match. See, character A is occurring 3 times in anagram string. Similarly, if you see, character A is occurring 3 times in nagaram. Character n is occurring kitna baar? 1 time in anagram. So you should see that all the character counts in both the strings should match. Okay. All the character counts in both the strings should match. So you will now ask me, hey Adarsh, how do I count the frequency of characters in a string? Can you tell me how do we count? I'll just open up a new screen. Maintain a hash map. Okay, if I knew the usage of hash map, I would, but मुझे hash map आता नहीं है. अभी तो नहीं आता at least. Okay, so see, there can be 2 different approaches, right? We have already seen how do I count the frequency of all the characters of a string using a frequency table. Okay, using a frequency table. So मैं पता है क्या करूँगा, guys? See what will I do? I will make 2 arrays of size 26. One will be for string S and the other one will be for string T. Okay? Now what do? I will iterate over string S and I will store, the frequency of the multiple characters here. So let's say you have a string anagram. So what will I do? This is character A. I will go to index number 0 and increase the count. I come to n. I will go for the index, which is valid index for n, which is nothing but n minus a. And I will increase the count there by 1. This is another a. I come and I increase the count of a by 1. So the count of a will become 2. So basically this frequency table will be storing the frequency of the multiple characters that you encounter in string. And at the end of the day, both of these, arrays should look exactly identical. Do you agree? Yes? So let me take an example. Let's take 2 very, very simple examples. Where do you use these things in real world? Okay. So anagrams, I think you can decide, right? Basically jumbled up, compare करने में ये काम आता है. Okay. But as a practically, if you ask me, I haven't used them very often, to be honest, right? But yeah, it is for sure important for algorithmic interviews and stuff. Okay. हाँ फॉर्म वही चीज है ना कि बेसिकली वो कैरेक्टर्स का आप जंबल अप कर दो कि these characters it should contain. So you can think up in that manner also. Okay. So now let's try to understand. I'm taking two strings, right? AACD and let's say DCAD. DCAD. Okay. Now, what do I do? What do I do? Now, I will have two tables, right? I will have two tables. One will store the frequency of characters for string S and the other will store the frequency of characters for string T. Okay? Yeah, this can be expected, right? This is not, at least the sorting via sorting you can do, right? Via sorting, it is pretty simple. So you can expect it to be a medium kind of thing. Okay. Now see, what do I do? First of all, I will go through string S. This is character A. So I will go to index number 0 and increase the count here to 1. This is again a character A. I go to index number 0, increase the count here to 2. This is character C. So I will go to index number 2 and increase the count to 1. Okay? Now, I come to character D. I will go to index number 3 and increase the count to 1. And all other things are 0. So now I am done processing string S. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ देखो. Index number 0 पे you have a count of 2. That means A is occurring 2 times, B is occurring 0 times, C is occurring once, and D is occurring once. And all other characters are occurring 0 number of times. Then we go to the frequency. We count the number of characters in the second string. So what do? I make another table. Okay. Now I come to character D. At what index? Go to index 3, increase the count by 1. I come to character C, go to index 2, increase the count by 1. I come to character A, go to index 0, increase the character to 1. Okay. Now, this is character D, go to index number 3 and increase the count to 2. So this is how my second frequency table is looking. Now I need to compare that these two tables should be identical. So I start comparing. I compare. Is this and this the same? No, this is not the same. So you immediately return a false. Ki boss, in the first string A is occurring 2 times, but in the second string A is only occurring 1. So you simply return a false. So is this making sense, guys? You can make two separate arrays and count the frequency of characters of both the strings in both the arrays. And then the contents of the two arrays should be exactly identical. If you find any discrepancy, they are not anagrams and you can simply return false. Otherwise, you return a true. Okay. We can also make S1 plus S2. No, that is not needed, right? Please code it. चलो यार code कर देते हैं. ठीक है. Lucky number. What's that? Let's see देखते हैं. ठीक है. So first of all, what do I need? I need two frequency tables, right? One which will store the frequency of characters of string S and the other which will work as a frequency table counter for string T. So what we will do? Let's make two tables. Frequency S is equal to new int 26. Okay. Line 3 and 13 are similar. Oh, no. The logic is different in both places, right? Int frequency of T is equal to new int 26. Okay. So I have made two tables for counting the frequency of characters of both the strings. Now what do? See, first iterate through string. Okay. Now I know, guys, that the length of both the strings are going to be the same. I will use this criteria, right? This is a very fundamental thing. Okay. So I know that the length of both the strings are the same. So I will just put here s dot length. Just iterate through any one of the strings length. क्या हुआ? नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं और क्या? Okay, anyways. Correct, Venkat. I will come to that also. That is also a good approach, right? So I'm just going थोड़ा करके dose दे रहा हूँ. Otherwise, you will find it too difficult, right? So now what do? I iterate through the strings. I iterate through both the strings. They have the same length, right? And what do? I just need to, count the occurrence of multiple characters. So what do? See, what is the current character that I am standing on? Let's say I'm talking for string S, ठीक है? तो S का कौन सा character पे हूँ मैं अभी? S dot caret I. At what index should I store it count? Do minus A. At this index, right? So I will go to frequency S at this particular index and I will increase the count there by 1. Ki boss, This is the current character. So I will go to this index s dot char at I minus a. This will give me the index of the frequency table. Go there and increase the frequency count by 1. Similarly, what I will do, I will also inspect what is the current character of string t. Okay. Go to the relevant index. Go to the relevant index of the frequency t table and increase the count there by 1. Is this understandable? Via this basic for loop, you will be counting the frequency of multiple characters in both the strings and you will be storing them in the frequency table. Why minus a? अरे यार ये तो बार बार मैं बता रहा हूँ. Minus a is basically helping you to get to the index. भैया मेरा बात ध्यान से समझो. I'll try to repeat it once again. Okay. See, what are you doing? If your character is C, मैं तुमको बोल रहा हूं तुम 26 साइज का एक टेबल बनाए हो. You have made a table of size 26 and I am telling you index 0 is reserved for character A. Index 1 is reserved for character B. Index 2 is reserved for character C. So how do I know this character C should be, the information for this character C is at index 2. You do a minus A here. तो जब तुम C minus A करोगे क्या मिलेगा? C minus A करोगे तो you will get 2. See? Because the ASCII of A is 97 and the ASCII of C is 99. 99 minus 97 is 2. So this will get me the index where I should store the information for the particular character. Go to the index and increase the count by 1. Plus plus matlab increase the count by 1. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now what do I do? Outside this for loop, both the arrays should have the same content. So मैं क्या करूँगा? Iterate through the arrays, right? For int I equal to 0, I less than 26. 26 is the sign, right? I plus plus. Capital A नहीं होगा, लिखा हुआ है small case के लिए वो, ठीक है? If capital A, then you have to use hash maps. Okay. Now what do I do? If I do minus 0, will this be applicable for other inputs too? For digits, it might be applicable, right? Minus 0. Okay. If you have a character digit and you want to get a numeric digit from that, do a minus 0, you will get that. Okay. So now I iterate through the arrays and I check if frequency of S of I, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? When you are at index number 0, you will check that what is the frequency count of character A. If the frequency count in string S is not equal to the frequency count in string T, okay, then you will return a false. And if this is not true, like if you just iterate through both the arrays fine and the counts basically matched, then you can return true. Both strings are anagrams. Okay. Are you able to follow this code? कुछ नहीं है boss. Simple है. This plus plus is nothing. This is like you are increasing the count, right? कि मेरा array में, let's say you have this 3 here, okay, at index number 1. So if I say ARR of 1 plus plus, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Go to index number 1, increase the count by 1. So इधर 4 हो गया. So this is just increasing the value. Okay. Line 24 and 25, where have we initialized it with 0? Okay, Dinesh, I think you are asking this question very late, right? I think in the first class of arrays itself, I had told that when you make the array using a new keyword, everything is by default 0. Okay. ठीक है, मैं एक बार dry run करता हूँ. So basically you make an array, you make 2 arrays of size 26, okay? And you will have these 2 frequency tables. Okay. Now what do I do? I basically iterate. मान लो ये एक string है ABCD and the second string is DCAC. Okay. So I am at index number 0. What is the character at index number 0? This is A. So A minus A will be 0. Okay. So I go to frequency S. This is मान लो frequency S. And let's say this is frequency T. Okay. So I go to index number 0 and increase the count. Plus plus मतलब count बढ़ गया. Then what do I check? What is the character at, string T here? D. So D minus A will be index number 3. So go to index number 3 of frequency T and increase the count there by 1. हो गया? आगे बढ़ो. Come to index number 1. What is the character in string S? B. B minus A is 1. Go here, increase the count. What is the character at string T? C. C minus A is index number 2. Go to index number 2 of frequency T, increase the count. Okay. Are you getting what we are trying to do? So after this loop is finished, you are basically storing the frequency of the different characters in both the arrays. And then you just have to compare that both the arrays should be identical. So I start from 0, go up till index number 25, and I check, boss, if frequency of I doesn't match, the frequency of T of I, then return a false. And if all the numbers basically match, that means all the characters are occurring in the same frequency. So return a true. Yes. Now, can anybody help me with the time complexity and space complexity of this? If A is occurring multiple times, we are counting A, right? So यहाँ पे एक 1 होगा और जब एक और A आएगा, you will go to index number 0 and you do a plus plus, so इधर 2 हो जाएगा. Okay. Now if you see, boss, the time complexity of this method is big O of n. Okay, the length of the string big O of n, and the space complexity is big O of 1. So definitely this method is more better than the previous method, because if n becomes very, very large, your n log n method might time out. O of n is better than O of n log n. So this method is better than the previous method. Okay? But now one last optimization, and I am pretty sure you will be blown by that, right? So now I ask you, now your interviewer will ask, hey, okay, you went from n log n to n, but you are using two different tables. Okay. Why do you then, how can I print? Ek second. Let me get to your questions, guys. I think the questions are important. 1 second. Then how can I print A as an index? Why do you want to print A as an index? I didn't understand. You are just counting the frequency of multiple characters, right? So जो भी character होगा, you subtract A from that, which will give you the index at which you have information for that character. Go to that index of the frequency table and do a plus plus. So increase the count of that particular character by 1. That is what we want to do. And at the end, we just want to compare the counts. Okay. So if both strings are not the same, but their length is the same, this will work definitely, right? If the length is same, you will come here, then you will compare, you will get the frequency of the multiple characters of both the strings, and you will see that the frequency doesn't turn out to be the same for every character if they are not anagrams. So you will be returning a false. Okay. Big O of 1, yes, it is big O of 1, right? Where is the extra space that you are making? You are just, making 52 blocks of extra space, and it is nowhere dependent on n. Okay. So that's constant space. Okay. Now, one last optimization that, people can think up with, right? 1 second. Where did that? Huh. Okay. So now your interview will tell you, chats allowed hai kya tum log ko? Okay. So now he will tell you, hey, okay, you did from the n log n approach, you went down to big O of n approach. Okay. You need to count multiple occurrences of the character now. If A is occurring 3 times in the first string, A should occur 3 times in the second string now. If their counts are not the same, then definitely they are not anagrams. Okay. Yes. Now the last point will be to basically use just one table. Abhi maine kya kiya? I have made 2 frequency table for both the strings. Now my last optimization will be, can I just do with one table? Can you guys help me? Anybody? Can you think up of any approach? Correct. So Gaurang is there. Add for string 1 and subtract from string 2. Sahi hai. So dekho, first of all, the lengths we will verify, right? Now let's say A, B, C, D is my first string, and the second string is D, C, D, A. Okay. Now see. Initially all are 0. एक सेकेंड प्लस प्लस का फंडा, हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई कि किस इंडेक्स में प्लस प्लस होना है. दिस इज टेलिंग मी ना विच इंडेक्स में जाके प्लस प्लस करना है. दिस एक्सप्रेशन सी s dot char at I minus a, this gives you the index. You go to that index and increase the count there. Okay, ये बता रहे ना भाई, this one. Okay, why do you need a variable? You don't need a variable. Why? X plus plus जब करते थे, do you need extra variable for doing this? No ना. So that is why just go to this index plus plus, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. और अगर नहीं ऐसे समझ में आ रहा है, do plus equal to 1, है ना? Okay. Now, one thing, right? How do you do it with one table, right? So let's say that currently the count of all characters are 0 and the length of this table is 26. So from index 0 till index 25. ठीक है? अब देखो guys, समझने का try करो होगा क्या? ठीक है? Now what do I tell you? Let's say string S is A, B, C, D and string T is of the same length, right? I ensure that they are of the same length, right? Because if they are not of the same length, then for sure it is a false, right? Now, the string T is, let's say DC. What do you do? DCAB ले लेते हैं, ठीक है. Now DCAB, okay. Or okay, now what do I do? Let's try to understand. First of all, I just iterate through string S. I just iterate through string S. Okay. Now see, I come to this character A. So what I will do? I go to index number 0 and increase the count. The boss, A character is present in the string once. Okay. Now what do? I go to character B. I go to character B. Okay. I go to index number 1 and I say yes, character B is also present once. Okay. I come to character C. Okay. I go to index number 2, increase the count there by 1. I come to character D, go to index 3, increase the count by 1. Now this is the state for string S. This is the state for string S. Okay. Now I will iterate over string T, and for every character I will subtract. Okay. Dekho, I come to this character D. So I will go to index number 3 and I will subtract the count by 1. मैं count subtract कर दिया. Okay. Now the count has gone down to 0. No problem. Come to character C. I will go to index number 2, subtract the count. Count becomes 0. Come to character A, go to index 0, subtract the count, becomes 0. Come to character B, go to index 1, subtract the count. String ended. Now, after you have done this operation for both the strings, now all the entries in this array should be 0. Sara entry ko 0 na padega, because what all characters are present in string S, they should be present in string T in the same quantity. That is why the all entries should go to 0. If any of the entries is a non-zero entry, now you can simply say, boss, it is not an anagram. So now you will just iterate through this array and see if you get any non-zero entry, then job done. It's false. And if you see that it is all zeros, then you come outside the for loop and return a true. Making sense, guys? ये समझ आ रहा है? So I'll leave this approach for you guys, right? So is everyone now clear with the valid anagram question? समझ आ रहा है question? I know it's a little bit difficult, but if you understand it, right, it's a good learning, to be honest, right? It's a very good question for learning. Done है? चलो, cool है. How much time we have? Okay, we have just 8-9 minutes, right? No. You don't have numbers, right? You don't have numbers in the string. 3 भी नहीं आएगा भाई. No. If you say that yes, there are different numbers also coming, hashtag, question mark, exclamation, all these characters can come, then we will do it using hash maps, right? Then we won't be doing this using arrays. Okay. Why can't we use a dot equals in approach 1 to compare the two arrays? See, anything. मैंने देखो, मेरे को नहीं पता dot equals क्या होता. I am not very comfortable with the built-in methods, right? So if I have to compare the contents of two arrays, I know I can do it using a basic for loop. So मैंने for loop लगा लिया. If you see that is equals doing the same thing, you can use that. Okay. So guys, I think is there any other thing, important thing which I wanted to cover? वैसे एक और question था, but I think we don't have time. Do lucky number. Okay, एक second. Yeah, I'll just look at your questions, because what are the questions? Explain any subsequence problem. See, subsequences, now typically when you have to deal with subsequences, right, that will involve the use of recursion or DP kind of thing, right? So subsequence utna commonly आपके encountering में नहीं होगा, right? Okay, but yeah, there is a question. There is this question which I had, brought for you. Which there is written subsequence in the question, but ideally you won't be using any concept of subsequence. पता नहीं कहाँ चला गया. Wait, let me just search it out. Partition array such that, yeah, this was the question. Let me check this question once. I don't think we'll be able to discuss questions more, right? Because it's only 10 minutes of time is left and you have doubt sessions also. I think I'll share this question also with you guys as an homework, right? Abhi aapne bola subsequence, so I remembered this question, right? This is also a good question, right? So, it's written here subsequence. If you read the question, you might get an idea that subsequence, we don't know how to do a subsequence. But again, this question is just based on sorting and counting. Okay? खाली array को sort करना और उसके बाद कुछ counting या logic लगाना है, right? So this is one question that you guys can try. And see guys, don't remain dependent कि अगर class में आपको नहीं समझाया जाएगा तो you won't be able to do. Lead Code is such a good platform now that once you read the question you don't understand now, go to the discuss forum, right? जो मैंने valid anagram का बोला ना, all these approaches are there in the discuss section, okay? And see, here also you will get all the different approaches. So just, sort by most number of votes and then try to read. Okay, try to read. If you understand, that's good enough, okay? So I also generally refer to these articles because, you always get to learn something new or the other, okay? So try to, do this question, not necessarily for tomorrow's test or something like that. Whenever you get time, right, you can try this question. It's a good question. Okay. Sorting questions. See, there is no straightforward question from bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort, something like this, right? There is no straightforward question, right? There are basic questions only, like basic usage of for loops ho gaya. Jaise, I am not sure if how many of you have done that question. Find insert position in an array. Okay. If the array is sorted and you want to find the insert position of a particular element. So that is, you can say related to insertion sort, but that is a basic one for loop, right? So there are no direct questions from sorting all. And whenever you get a question on sorting, right, in tomorrow's test, you will get a question on sorting for sure. 90% of the time, I will assume arrays.sort will do the job. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the internal implementations of all the sorting techniques. Okay. Please explain any question directly, indirectly related, not needed at this point of time. Okay. So do lucky number. What is lucky number? Yeah, 1 minute. I'll just read that question once and see. I remember that that was using a list, right? If it is open, we can take it up from here itself. No, it's not open. Okay. Okay, guys. Any other general doubts that you have, you can ask, right? So, general मतलब कोई भी आपको अगर this was the question क्या? Wait. Matrix का था ना वो, I think. Given an integer array, was this the question? अच्छा guys, this question also you can do, right? This question also you can do. It's a simple question. ये भी सही है ना? But not needed at this point. ठीक है. सबको सेम क्वेश्चंस नहीं आएंगे टेस्ट में, राइट? देयर इज अ पूल ऑफ क्वेश्चंस एंड पीपल will be getting random questions from that pool. Okay, so not everyone will get the same things. Okay, how and what to revise for tomorrow's session? See, I would say just revise the basic fundamental. देखो एक दिन में कुछ खास देखो रिवीजन होता नहीं है, to be very honest, right? Whatever you have learned so far, that is only going to help you. But if you want to shell rotate, what's that? But if you want to revise, just revise the basic methods and the basic things. How do you iterate? How do you generate substrings? How do you do this? Like just basic देखो. Okay. Okay, lucky. What is this? Given an m by n matrix of distinct numbers, return all lucky numbers in any order. A lucky number is an element such that its minimum element in the row and it is maximum in its column. Okay. I think you can do it using nesting. Nesting से तो कर ही सकते हो. Yes, try it using nesting, right? And don't focus on this list part, right? ऐसे ही देखो कि how do you determine if a number is a lucky number or not, right? तो वो ऐसे try करो. I am pretty sure that you will be able to do it. Okay. Who is setting that pool? That is already set up by the team of there are folks who have set that up. Zoom test is from 9 to. Okay, guys. Now no more technical talks. We have just 5 minutes. So any other questions relating to the test, any other thing that you want to ask, I'll be happy to answer them. Difficulty level, we have already covered a lot of questions, right? That is the question levels that you can expect. Okay, question bank में से कुछ आएगा क्या? I have not set the question, and even if I have, I am not allowed to disclose. Okay. What type of questions on sorting? See, whatever we have done now, if you are comfortable with the topics done in lecture, the questions that we have done in lecture, okay, the questions that we have done in assignments, it would be great. Matlab, you will not face any problem. That I can for sure tell you. Okay. Okay. And yeah, guys, any other doubts, any other things you can ask, give tips for exam. Just manage your time accordingly, right? The easy and medium questions you should be able to get done by 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And then the remaining 45 minutes should be for the last question, right? That is what I should think. Okay. When can we see marks? I think after the test, it will be told to you in a day or two. Okay. Yeah, you can use pen and paper. You can use pen and paper. Okay. And see, guys, DSA ऐसा topic है ना कि there are so many questions. Now, the more I teach you, the more you learn, and there is no end to this. Okay. So, but like, we are short on time, right? Okay, we have limited amount of time, so definitely. But yeah, for sure, I will keep on sharing questions with you all. Anybody, किसी को भी कोई problem हो, you can ask me. I can give you questions to solve. But yeah, it is up to your owners how well you solve the questions, how well you come up with doubts, how much effort you are putting. Okay, I have solved decent number of questions on lead code, so if you want, I can share good questions as and when you cover the topics, right? But yeah. Should we jump on to new sums or revise? No. Don't do new sums at the moment, right? अब मत करो. Like tomorrow है ना test, कल है ना test. Is your test tomorrow? Yeah. I would say just whatever has been done, revise that. Okay. Today's class तक का जो भी हुआ है कर लो. अब नया question अब मत करो. ठीक है. Whatever you have done till now, just stay with that. Okay. Cool, guys. And yeah, I have updated the lecture codes doc, so you can refer to that. आज का I will update. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll share more questions, for sorting and all. But that will be for when you go to module 2, you can keep on solving more questions if you get time, right? For module 1, these questions should be sufficient. For module 2, I'll also share some more questions with you all. Okay. Any exam app downloading, I think you need to ask with the batch managers. I am not sure. Okay. The recording will be available. Okay. Yeah, 60% is the pass marks, right? अब मेरे को नहीं पता यार कैसे टेस्ट केस का मार्किंग है, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट. No, I am not teaching module 2. Okay, I am teaching module 1. Module 2 is taken by a different instructor. Chalo yaar. Cool, guys. So I think we'll meet sometime later. Okay. And yeah, that should be it for today. How many times we can repeat module? यार एक बार तो कर ही सकते हो, उसके बाद मुझे नहीं पता. ठीक है. चलो यार. Bye bye. Yep. Okay, guys, any other doubts, you can ping me on Discord, right? I am there. But yeah, that should be it. Chalo then. Bye.